All people want to know is, how big is your house? How many cars have you got? How much are you earning? But they never want to know, how are you feeling? They never want to just sit down and have a chat.
The Welsh football manager Gary Skeevers died at the age of 42. The Football Association of Wales has told the BBC that it appears he had taken his own life. Tributes are being paid to him.
You see, mental health can affect everyone. The public, celebrities, everyone. We need to start tackling it. Hi everyone, so today I'll be starting my first ever mental health episode that explores mental health in football and the community surrounding it. This is a mental health series that I'm dedicating towards football because I want to try and uncover the main reasons why the players and also the fans suffer with mental health in football. So yeah, thank you for continuing to come along. So what is really mental health and how does it affect us on our daily basis? So for me, mental health affects me in a sense of like, it affects my everyday movement in a sense of like, it stops me from doing certain things, and it also makes me feel low at sometimes, but also high on sometimes. And also think that affects footballers in certain places as well, because one day they can be on top of their game, then the next day they might not be, and that really affects them mentally. A lot of fans these days will try and, for example, if their team ain't winning, it's almost like they've got to pick out an individual player and blame them for an individual performance. But football is a team game, so you've got to understand is even if one player is not up to par, the whole team might not be as well. You see, for many years, mental health has always been that subject where people just don't want to talk about it. It's almost like, if he's feeling low, oh, chin up mate and get on with it. But mental health is so much more diverse than that. It's so much more powerful than that. It can affect a person and destroy them. I've seen really strong people be destroyed and ripped open by mental health. And that's why it's really a powerful thing to consider, because you've got to understand with footballers on the pitch, they're playing the game, then they go and train, then they have to go home and face the shit that they've had on the pitch already, but on social media. And it does upset me to think that all these players that are trying to do their best are then individually picked out and then picked on because of what they did bad and how they let the team down. But football is a massively team game. Yes, certain passes might not go through or certain goals might not be allowed. That's not an individual's fault in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm angry sometimes when a player doesn't score or do a mad ball across the field. But at the end of the day, if every single player was playing up to their best, there wouldn't be any winners. I mean, there might be obviously, because someone has to win eventually. But at the same time, it's almost virtually impossible to have it so everyone's playing 100%. Someone's going to fail, and that doesn't make them a bad player. In fact, failing, you can learn from your mistakes and become even stronger. So if you might not win this season, you would win next season, you may even win the season after that. We all learn from our failures. You see, quite recently I see a post of how ex-footballers, they come out of the game and they really don't know what to do. They're lost in a sense of how their whole life was based around football, and now all of a sudden it stops just like that. And so obviously some ex-footballers go into punditry, some go into managing, and some of them also like write about their lives, which is brilliant. But there's some that's like left hanging in a sense. And it does make you wonder, mentally, how does that affect them? I mean, for 15 or 20 years of their life, it's been football, football and football. And you've got to understand in the sense of how do they deal with that on a daily basis? I mean, they had a routine. They woke up, trained, played football, they went out or whatever. And so they had a routine for about 20 years of their lives. And so when that all stops, it's almost like cards coming down from a finger. It would just come down instantly. And so with their mental health, it's like it almost leads to alcoholism or drugs and that. And it's almost like, yeah, fair enough, I understand, because almost like their addiction was football, and now they're scrambling around to find something else to replace that high, but they can't find it. So you've got to understand the impact of how mental health can affect retirees, ex-footballers, and also with mental health, it can also affect a player that is currently like playing, in a sense, because 24/7 their whole life is football, and now one mistake can change how people look at them, in a sense. So for example, that debate of Messi and Ronaldo, one mistake and that's it, they're shone under a spotlight. And that must be a powerful thing to go home to, because they must have it in their heads 24/7. If I make one mistake, I'm on the front headlines tomorrow morning. And that is really powerful, because that can really destroy a person. You see, football's everything to me. I love it. I love the game. I love collecting all the match attacks cards. I love fucking watching all loads of different clips on YouTube and whatnot. But I also understand how powerful it can be in the sense of for the players, or maybe even for the community, in a sense. Because a lot of people think or say to themselves just, oh, how comes people get upset when, sorry, I need to look at that. How comes people get upset when your team loses? I don't get that. And I understand the passion towards football, but what I don't understand is why people feel the need to say anything racist or anything abusive towards the players. It doesn't give me a right to say anything, because at the end of the day, they only done their job. So why have I got to get involved and say something? And they've got to go home to their wives, to their children maybe. They may even cry or be upset about it, because they've got to go home and face all that rubbish that every single person or every single individual that's put that abusive language on social media, and they've got to face that shit. It's funny because you don't really hear about celebrities talking up about their mental health, because in a sense they probably feel like they can't, because they'll feel like they're abnormal from society, or they'll be shined in an even bigger light that they are already in. So finally, I would like to take an opportunity to say that over the course of this series that I'll be exploring what mental health means to me, to football, and how we can deal with it on a daily basis. I also wanted to show how mental health is maintainable and all the techniques and certain things that worked for me. Obviously I'm not saying I cured it from myself, but I wanted to try and explore the possibilities of how we can maintain it as a community, and what we can do to try and resolve certain issues that people might be going through. And it's I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, so I wanted to make sure that football is a safe environment for people that are going through mental health issues, but also people that might be suffering in silence, people with autism, with anxiety, PTSD, or anything along them lines. I wanted to make it so it's a safe environment for those that want to go to the games, watch the games, and also maybe even play in the games of football. So certain footballers that might be going through certain situations, it's okay, because you are who you are, and we're only human beings at the end of the day. And so we all have thoughts and feelings and emotions, and eventually they will break. Water will come out of our eyes, hopefully, or not hopefully, should I say. But yeah, as I was saying, it's okay to cry. It's okay not to feel yourself. It's okay not to feel strong, because at the end of the day, we are who we are. We're human beings. Right, very sorry to inform you that your head injury is too serious. You are unable to continue with the game. Thank you for the effort and the commitment you have shown to this team. You'll be out for about 7 months, or maybe more. hard to tell at this time. But once again, thank you for your time. You see, why is an injury in football sometimes crucial and also quite, I would say crippling in a sense to a player's career? Because something like this that I've just been filming, for example, it could be out for 7 months. And just like the current Arsenal team that's playing now, some players have recently got injured, but they're still winning, so they may feel left behind. They're injured, their team's winning, and it's almost like the whole world is moving on without them. And that's why an injury is such crucial to someone's mental health, is because for me, what I see, or what most people see, is just this, or what's over their face, or what's on their legs. But we don't get to see what's going on inside their heads. We get to see all the nasty, all this sort of stuff, but we never get to see all the mental side of things. And that's what we need to understand, is that footballers go through a lot of mental health when it comes down to injuries, and injuries is a massive part, unfortunately, in football. And quite recently, my favourite player is Smith Rowe, that plays for Arsenal, and he's been out with a groin injury, and he was talking about how he's been going through that same groin injury since 2019 or 2017, I can't exactly remember. But he was saying how that affects him a lot, and you can really see that because he's really he's struggling to get back into the team. I mean, he's probably, for me, one of the best players at Arsenal, alongside a few like Bukayo Saka, Martinelli and Trossard and whatnot. But for me, he's my favourite player at Arsenal. And to see him not being able to play is really hurtful, because you can really see how much talent he can bring to the team, but because of his injury, it's pushing him back. And it's like the whole world, as well as his club, is moving forward, and he's standing still. So that's why we really need to address mental health in football, especially in the injury side of things. I remember Reece James and Mason Mount both come out and said how when they was injured, it's almost like things were moving forward and they weren't. And that's really upsetting to see. And some players, unfortunately, like for example Jack Wilshere, former Arsenal player, I think he's now a head coach for under 21s or something, but he got so many injuries that he had to retire early, and that's really upsetting to see, because it's like someone coming up to you and saying you can't play football no more because you're too injury prone, and that must be a really big kick in the bollocks. So to see someone as talented as Jack Wilshere not play football no more, it's really hard to see.